Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie, the show in which I, Dan Leith, review things in a rabbit onesie. Hello, it's October. It's Dantober, which means I'm reviewing 31 horror movies that I've never seen before. I covered the first 8 movies in a previous video, so if you want to check that out, you can do so on YouTube, Instagram, or wherever the fuck you watch this shit. So without further ado, let's get straight to the movies. So first up is movie number 9, 1993's The Washing Machine. Now, this movie was directed by Ruggero Deodato, who directed Cannibal Holocaust, and the cinemaphiles out there will know that he was arrested for the murder of one of his actresses because her on-screen killing was too realistic. She had to show up in court and be like, "Sorry guys, I'm fine." But in this film, Ruggero is only guilty for the murder of our attention span, because it's not very interesting. It's a film about 3 unhinged, sex-crazed sisters. 2 of them are musicians and 1 is a prostitute. One of them reports the murder of the prostitute's pimp. She apparently finds him dismembered in a washing machine. As you do. And then this really uncharismatic detective comes on the case. Essentially, the entire film is just the sisters fucking with him. And also fucking him. It does have some excellent music by Claudio Simonetti. Nice work, Claudio. And it certainly starts strong. There's a scene with a couple having a domestic, and they end up fucking in a fridge. The other sister's watching them while playing the triangle. I don't know. Tits and triangles. It's basically just a bunch of weird, sexy set pieces. It's meandering Euro trash. There's a scene with some forced sex while handcuffed to a stair banister that goes on for way too long. And there's a scene with some sexy foreplay action whilst in an art gallery filled with blind people. The detective crouches down to hide, and then it's crotch, ass, crotch, ass. It just looks like he's so fucking confused by the entire thing. It's pretty goreless as well, apart from being bookended with some dismembered body parts in washing machines. There's a weird dream sequence with one of the sisters hacking up a torso and talking about cannibalism. Fuck do I know. All in all, it's just not that interesting, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not all washing machines have cut up corpses inside.
It's not so much a horror movie as it is a horrific movie to sit through. Don't get me wrong, I love boobs and ass, particularly within the confines of a loving relationship, or peppered around something resembling a plot. But this movie is too erotically charged to be an effective horror movie or a thriller, and not erotically charged enough to be a porn. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that Italian white goods are unreliable. I mean, that's leaking everywhere. You need to fix those seals.
Leaking somewhere.
The Washing Machine. 1 out of 5 spin cycles. Which brings us on to movie number 10, 2018's The Nun. This movie is based off an entity originally seen in The Conjuring 2. It's really creepy in that. In this, it's not. It's about an ancient evil trying to break through in a haunted Romanian abbey, which sounds like it should at least be atmospheric, but it's also not. I mean, any potentially frightening moments are just pissed away with bad CGI and jump scares. It's just overproduced to fuck. Taissa Farmiga is actually very good as the lead in this film. I can hear you! But unfortunately the film is so bad that it doesn't really matter. And you've got a terrible supporting cast. There's the character of Frenchie, who's a French Canadian who makes awful one-liners.
I'm French Canadian.
And Father Burke, who has one facial expression, which is unfortunately set to smell the fart acting. There's also a ghost boy that vomits snakes. A fair amount of zombie nuns.
You failed.
And just way too many overproduced visual effects. I mean, the plus side of this film being such a Hollywood piece of garbage is at least the nuns are really hot. Hot-cross nuns. But the downside, of course, is that it's an absolute slog to sit through. Also, Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring films, she's Taissa's sister in real life. So I thought the characters were going to be related in some way. They weren't. So they just look similar for no reason whatsoever. And it's very confusing. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that zombie nuns should be called the Nun Dead. Someone should make that film, if it hasn't already been done. 1 out of 5 Wimples. Which brings us on to movie number 11. Ran out of fingers. 2019's Child's Play. Now let me just start this off by saying that Brad Dourif is one of my favourite actors of all time. Nobody could do a Charles Lee Ray Chucky as well as him. His one-liners, his banter, fucking class. Let's face it, he's always the best thing about those classic Chucky movies.
What are you, fucking nuts?
Not even an incredible voice actor and talent like Mark Hamill could do that as well as him.
You heard my Harrison Ford.
Which is why I'm glad they go a different direction in this reboot. Instead of voodoo and a serial killer, it's a disgruntled factory worker and a virus that ends up creating some evil AI, which sounds like a shit idea, and I guess it kind of is. But the good thing about this movie is it knows exactly how ridiculous it is. I was surprised that I actually really fucking enjoyed it. I mean, the cast are great and they're clearly having fun with it. The death and gore is so over the top and knowingly witty. There's some incredible kills in this film. A man gets introduced to some double compound fractures and a lawnmower to the skull. There's some self-driving car crash tension. A store worker with one of those novelty big heads on gets stabbed in the neck. He's just stumbling around with the head on, falls to his knees, takes it off, sprays this innocent little girl in the face with blood. Fucking hilarious. And who doesn't enjoy so many scenes with a flayed face and a watermelon? It's also quite exciting too, and it has some unsettling moments. There's a scene where Chucky plays the sounds of a dying cat back to Andy. That's horrible. And Mark Hamill's clearly having a great time singing the Buddy song in the end credits.
I will never let you go.
At times it feels a little rushed, and the last 5 minutes are meh. But honestly, it's a really fun ride. I actually think this film could have done a lot better if it wasn't branded Child's Play. There are so many films about killer dolls, so why not just start an original franchise here? What did I learn from this movie? I learned that the left nipple is a really weird place to put a USB port. And that's the Child's Play reboot. 4 out of 5 Furbies. Which brings us on to movie number 12. 2020's #Alive. Now, I know that a lot of people are of the opinion that they are done with zombies, and I can understand that, but this Korean film about a young man trapped in his apartment during a zombie apocalypse is actually pretty fucking good. It's emotional, nightmarish, it's scary, it's fun. I find myself getting invested in the characters really quickly. Plus, I think the horror of self-isolation really resonated with me. Wonder why. Anyway, this movie gets down to business right away. It's pretty much non-stop. In many ways, it doesn't break new ground, but there's some interesting scenes using new technology to problem-solve situations. And when the action happens, it's actually kick-ass. Plus, it's nice to see a film where a potted plant gets a lot of love. And there's a lovely scene with a socially distanced noodle date. Essentially, it's just the story about the human struggle of survival. Which should be what all good zombie movies are about. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that wireless headphones aren't very useful in the apocalypse. And I also learned that when you're really starving, you can actually enjoy Spam.
Spam up! When you could eat a horse. Spam up!
Spam.
Hopefully I'll never have to test that theory. #Alive. 4 out of 5 instant noodles. Which brings us on to movie number 13. 2019's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Based off the horror anthology books for children under the same name, which actually I never got the pleasure to read. Maybe they just didn't ship them to Ireland. This movie certainly does have a family horror movie feel about it, which is actually no bad thing. This film starts very strong. Likeable characters, a good sense of humour, they're all out having Halloween fun. Egging cars and throwing flaming turd bags at people. Watching Night of the Living Dead in a drive-in cinema. Nice.
Do you want to see a haunted house?
Then going to check out a haunted house.
Okay, we saw it.
There's just such a great sense of fun at the beginning of this film. Almost feels like a spiritual successor to Hocus Pocus.
I've waited centuries to say that.
Anyway, the kids find a book in this haunted house.
It's a book of scary stories.
And the book starts writing stories itself.
Stories write themselves and it all comes alive.
And starts picking off the kids one by one.
Tell me a story.
There's a cool atmospheric story about a scarecrow. It's a class-looking zombie that's pretty perturbed that someone's eating his toe in his soup. I mean, this movie is so much fun for the first half, and then it devolves into uninteresting, unnecessary backstory boredom. It loses the sense of fun that it had at the start of the film.
Who ordered the chicken?
The protagonists are taking a plot that is frankly quite silly, just way too seriously.
We've got to stop it.
I think the movie would have been much better served if it was just an anthology of the stories, like in the books, and if it didn't waste so much time on a plot that it frankly didn't need. But there are some nice visual moments in this film, although I'm not sure I would call them scary, but I think a lot of them are true to the illustrations in the book, which must be nice for the people who grew up reading. That's not a red room. This is a red room. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that sometimes the spider bite does mean that the spiders have laid eggs in your face. I also learned that some filmmakers need to make a decision of whether their target audience is children or adults. And that's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The first half of it is a 4, the second half is a 2, which should make it a 3, but to be honest, I'd probably never watch it again unless I had a child. And even then, I'd probably turn it off at the halfway point. 2 out of 5 flaming poo bags. And now we're on to movie number 14, 2019's Escape Room. No, I mean, I did watch this movie and it was fucking painful, but I'm discounting it because I don't think it was a horror movie. I mean, I felt horrible during it, but it was a goreless, fearless, terrible piece of shit that doesn't deserve any screen time. I mean, what's a Saw movie when you remove the violence? Who's this film for? People who love escape rooms but don't like horror movies? Like you, Brendan Quinn. That's right, calling you out again. Don't you fucking tell me how to do my job. Fuck you, Brendan Quinn. Sorry, let's try that again. Moving on to movie number 14, 2019's Ready or Not. This movie is a hilarious black comedy about a newlywed bride who finds herself in a deadly game of hide and seek on her wedding night. Apparently someone in the family made a pact with the devil years ago, and it's tradition to play a game on your wedding night.
A game.
But if it's hide and seek, it's to the death.
Hide and seek? Are we really gonna play that?
This movie stars Samara Weaving, who just fucking nails it.
No, thank you.
She is fucking believable. She makes every line her own. She's just an incredible performer and hilarious too.
No, I'm sorry.
And it's always nice to see Adam Brody.
Found her.
Oh, Seth Cohen, how you've grown.
He's beautiful.
I mean, there were very few things I didn't like about this film. It had an overly busy and intrusive score, but I stopped noticing after a while because I'm having too much fun.
It's insane.
The supporting cast are great. One of the family members, called Emily, has a hilarious cocaine habit. She keeps accidentally killing the servants.
Jesus, you shot the maid.
Well, there goes the help. There's many scenes of Samara Weaving being a fucking badass. And who doesn't enjoy a scene where a child gets punched in the face? It's an exciting, blood-soaked black comedy, which contains a fair few belly laughs.
All right.
Oh my God!
I highly recommend this film. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that goat pits are perfect for disposing of bodies, and I also learned that my ultimate fetish is a blood-spattered badass bride. 4 out of 5 blood-soaked fails, which brings us on to movie number 15, 2001's The Shaft, aka Down. Yep, it's another film that has too many titles, but for the purpose of this, I'm going to call it The Shaft. And it's a film about a killer elevator, I shit you not. I don't even know where to begin with this film. It's actually an English-spoken remake of a Dutch film by a man called Dick Maas. Yes, that's right, it's Dick Maas's The Shaft. I mean, the problem with Dick Maas's The Shaft is it's very long, and it gets a bit limp near the end, but the final explosion is amazing, although some parts of it are hard to swallow. But seriously, this movie is the best kept secret in shit cinema. It was produced by a company called First Floor Features, so you know you're onto a winner. And it opens on 2 security guys perving on a threesome on top of a skyscraper.
Oh, boy, this is really something.
Well, let me see.
It has the most unbelievable dialogue ever.
They're watching those hookers again.
Must be Thursday then. How time flies.
It's got stilted dialogue,
Stop it!
bad ADR, and performances that could give Tommy Wiseau's The Room a run for their money.
Getting drunk's not gonna help anything. You're just gonna feel sick in the morning.
If you like shit cinema, drop what you're doing and watch this fucking film.
To the exciting life of an elevator repairman.
And not only is it so hilariously bad that it's amazing, it has an incredible cast. You've got James Marshall,
Hey, Jeff.
a pawn shop version of Mark Wahlberg,
What the fuck are you doing there?
Ron Perlman,
As I explained before, elevators are one of the safest means of transportation.
Michael Ironside,
If I go down, I'm not going down alone.
and Naomi fucking Watts,
You're kidding.
saying lines like,
I'll pee on them.
"What?
Nice warm seat.
What is happening?
It's the closest you'll get.
How does this film exist?"
Probably the choice of God.
This film deserves its own video alone, so I have no idea how I'm going to break this down into a couple of minutes. But here are some highlights. A bunch of pregnant women get stuck in a lift and all their waters break at once. There are some up-close and personal shots of water breaking.
Oh my god.
There's a perverted blind man who likes to grope his hairdresser. And the reaction on his seeing eye dog as he does it. Fucking priceless.
Green hair? Are you nuts? The dirty prick deserves it.
Unfortunately, they're not long for this world.
At last.
Blind man walks into an elevator shaft. Taking the seeing eye dog with him. Which is actually pretty upsetting to watch, but remember, it's only a movie. And to be fair, the dog probably got a better gig somewhere else. There's a scene where a rollerblader is sucked into the elevator in the basement. He's brought to the top and spat out over the balcony at breakneck speed. Fucking hilarious. There's some random German classroom assistant who just likes to swear at her children.
One of you busted seen Mary Jane.
And the performances and the dialogue throughout this film are just incredible.
Elevators like to kill people.
I mean, it really speaks for itself.
10 people get on, 9 people get off.
There's a bit where Naomi Watts makes an impromptu rape accusation.
But he raped me. No, officer, arrest that man!
And there's a hilarious scene talking about microchips fucking.
Have you ever seen 2 chips fucking?
And people fucking.
I mean, why should we be the only ones who fuck?
We're not.
What?
We're not fucking.
But we can if we want to. We have a choice.
Tonight, I'm a little tired.
What the fuck? I mean, the only person who seems to pull off a good performance is Ron Perlman.
Is this what you were trying to achieve?
Apparently that man can polish shit.
2 of my best fucking men are dead.
Fucking great job, Ron.
What a fool I was to believe you.
You've brought integrity to this film.
It's not over yet! It's gonna get worse. Much worse!
It's just so bad it's good.
What's in the bag?
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Stuff for elevators.
About an hour into the film, you realize that the elevator repairmen are ex-Marines.
Your little army buddy hasn't been very helpful.
Marine.
Yeah, I remember Desert Storm. Out of nowhere. And this movie takes no prisoners with its kills. There's a scene with a packed elevator. Bottom falls out. Everyone falls. Hits things on the way down. Men. Women. Children. Brilliant. Then a SWAT team member gets cut in half. And the entire thing culminates in a Resident Evil style ending. Complete with bazooka. Incredible. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that they use falcons on tall buildings to keep the pigeon population at bay.
Oh, falcons!
The city has brought them in to keep the pigeon population down.
This movie actually taught me something.
I'll leave you to it.
Not really sure how to rate a film like this. In many obvious ways, this is not a good movie. In many other ways, it's the best film I've ever fucking seen in my life. And it's definitely getting the Hidden Gem of the Week award. Hidden Gem of the Week. I don't know how to rate it, so I'm just gonna go straight down the middle. Dick Mass's The Shaft. Good on so many levels. 3 out of 5 Muzak compilations. And that brings us to the final movie of this week's Dantober highlights. That's movie number 16. 2019's Happy Death Day to You. Jessica Roth returns as the character of Tree, who this time finds herself being Groundhog Day'd to death in a parallel dimension. If you saw the first film and you enjoyed it, then definitely check this one out. It's trying a bit harder than the first film. It attempts a lot more jokes that don't land.
Who's this crazy white girl?
But at its core, it's just good fun, and it's hard not to get invested. Jessica Roth is on form and hilarious again.
Biggest mega balls in the history of shitty ball suckery!
Although I find it hard to stomach that her character has never seen Back to the Future. This movie's even less of a horror movie than the first film was. It's more of a sci-fi teen rom-com, I guess.
You are gay!
But it does have some murders and some hilarious death scenes.
I mean, you do realize there's a killer after me, right?
With one standout hilarious suicide montage set to Paramore's Hard Times. Tree is just offing herself in new and inventive ways. Dropping the hairdryer in the bath. Downing drain cleaner in front of one very shocked shopper. Skydiving in a bikini without a parachute. And throwing herself in a wood chipper. It's very funny stuff. It's enough fun to forgive the times it tries and fails at comedy, and I find it surprisingly more emotional than I thought I would as well. It got me right here in the Dead Parents feels. It has a fucking awful cover of the Bee Gees' Staying Alive in the credits though. and a mid-credit sequence where they're possibly setting up a next film. I mean, what are they going to call that? Hap 3 Death Day? I don't know. It's better than TAC 3N. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that it's bad timing to hold up a man while he's urinating. And that's Happy Death Day to you. 3 out of 5 deja vus. 3 out of 5 deja vus. 3 out of 5 deja vus. And that's the rundown of films 9 to 16 of Dantober 2020. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, subscribe. Just click on the Otter. If you have any other horror movie suggestions, then please fire them at me. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay sane, and if you're worried that an elevator is ever trying to kill you, you should probably take some steps to avoid that.
Finn.